this video, we will explore the barriers that can hinder DEI efforts, both at the individual level and within organizations. Let's get started. First, let's define DEI. Diversity refers to the representation of different identities. Equity ensures fair treatment and opportunities, while inclusion means creating environments where everyone feels valued and accepted. But achieving these ideals can be complex. Let's look at individual barriers. One significant issue is implicit bias. This unconscious favoritism can lead to unfair judgments about others based on race, gender, or background. Implicit bias refers to the attitudes or stereotypes that affect our understanding, actions, and decisions unconsciously. This can lead to discriminatory behavior even in people who consciously believe in equality. Example: in a workplace, a hiring manager may favor candidates with similar educational backgrounds or personal experiences, unconsciously dismissing those from different backgrounds. This can limit diversity in hiring and perpetuate homogeneity within the team. Another barrier is microaggressions, those subtle, often unintentional comments or actions, or behaviors that can be hurtful. Think about phrases like, "You speak English really well," directed at someone who may be a native speaker. Microaggressions are brief, everyday exchanges that convey denigrating messages to individuals. These subtle but hurtful comments or actions can make people feel excluded, unseen, and invalidated. Microaggressions can be verbal, nonverbal, or environmental. An example of a verbal microaggression is complimenting a person of color on their English proficiency, implying they are not from the country they are in. Nonverbal microaggressions can include avoiding eye contact or clutching your purse when someone from a particular racial or ethnic group walks by. Environmental microaggressions can manifest as the lack of representation of diverse groups in media or textbooks. Next is the lack of self-awareness. Some individuals may not recognize their own biases or the impact of their actions on others. This can perpetuate exclusionary practices. For example, an employee might dominate conversations in meetings, failing to notice that quieter team members feel intimidated or overlooked. This can create a culture where only the loudest voices are heard, sidelining valuable perspectives. Another barrier is defensiveness in conversations. When topics related to race, gender, or inclusion arise, some may perceive the discussion as a personal attack rather than a chance for growth. For instance, if someone receives feedback about their language or behavior, they might immediately respond with, "I didn't mean it that way." Instead of reflecting on how their words could be perceived, this defensiveness can stifle open dialogue and learning. Another barrier is limited perspective. Individuals with little exposure to diverse groups may struggle to understand or empathize with experiences outside their own. For example, someone who has only worked in similar environments may not recognize the challenges faced by colleagues from different backgrounds. This can lead to a lack of support and understanding in team dynamics. Let's discuss resistance to change. Some individuals may view DEI initiatives as unnecessary or disruptive to the status quo. For instance, an employee might push back against mandatory diversity training, believing it isn't relevant to their role. This resistance can undermine organizational efforts to foster a more inclusive culture. One of the biggest barriers to DEI is a lack of leadership buy-in and accountability. When leaders don't prioritize DEI, it sends a message that it's not important. This can trickle down throughout the organization, creating a culture where DEI initiatives are not taken seriously. Another significant barrier is inadequate training and resources. Many organizations lack the knowledge, skills, and tools to effectively implement DEI initiatives. Without proper training, employees may not understand how to identify and address their own biases, recognize microaggressions, or create a more inclusive workplace. To break down barriers, we need to adopt actionable solutions. Creating a more diverse, equitable, and inclusive world requires ongoing effort and commitment. Individuals can start by examining their own biases and being willing to challenge their own assumptions. Educate yourself about different cultures, perspectives, and experiences. Listen to understand, not to respond. Be an ally and speak up against injustice and discrimination when you see it. Organizations play a critical role in dismantling systemic barriers and fostering inclusive cultures. Start by setting clear DEI goals and developing a comprehensive strategy to achieve them. Provide ongoing DEI training for all employees, from entry level to senior leadership. Create safe spaces for dialogue and feedback. Measure your progress and hold yourself accountable.